Hi guys, welcome to Hoops Junction. Vlad here, and I have another book review on a basketball book that you should pick up. It's an oldie but goodie. It's from the mid 90s, early 90s. This is called Sacred Hoops by Phil Jackson. This book recounts the 1995-1996 Bulls 72-10 season. It's a really good book. It's a really good read. What I love about the book, number one, it's not a long read. I know you basketball players have a short attention span at times, so it's not a long read. It's only about 200 pages, but the way the layouts are, it's laid out really well. You know, subtitles and titles, everything is really nice. So it's an easy read, easy to follow. This book pretty much recounts how Phil Jackson had to live his life and transpose some of his ideologies onto the 1995-96 Bulls team. And it was very interesting to see some of the things that he said about certain individuals, about the team, about himself. You know, he has been through a lot of trials and tribulations, so to speak. It may not seem that way because he played in the NBA and he has a lot of money and he's the general manager of the Knicks. But back in these days, you know, it was a lot of uncertainty in his life, and he talked about that in depth, and it was really cool. And he talked about coaching in Puerto Rico and just how he never thought that he wanted to become a coach in the beginning. You know, he wanted to go ahead and get his master's and go a different route. So basketball, he really didn't see it in the cards, but throughout, he found his way. What I loved about the book was, number one, he always looked at Michael Jordan, even though we look at him as the greatest player to ever play the game. He always looked at him with a lot of objectivity, and he looked at Michael Jordan as more of a problem to the team at times because many people couldn't understand how to play around him. They were so mesmerized with Mike that they couldn't learn to play with Mike, and they treated him differently. So I found that interesting. Another interesting thing about this book, he talks about his early days in yoga and spirituality. And this book has a lot to do with spirituality. And it's funny because Jeff Van Gundy when this book came out in the 90s, Jeff Van Gundy made a comment. He called him Big Chief Triangle, and he said something about his book. He said he used derogatory language about Phil's book. Well, in all actuality, the reason why the Bulls went 72-10 that year is because of a lot of the philosophies that he explains in his book. In this book, he's only talking about teamwork. He's talking about roles. He would before he started the season, he had each player come into the his office, and he would give them a script, and he would say what is it you want to achieve? What is it are we gonna achieve? This is how I see you. It would be like a movie role. So to him, it was like putting the pieces together of a movie and just directing everybody in the way that they could become one and gel. And he held no punches. And in this book, you'll really get a big gist of that. I mean, it was very eye opening because a lot of times they say that professionals feel that, especially sports professionals, doctors, lawyers, any professional. They say that the hardest thing to do is deal with people. It's not the job itself that's tough. It's dealing with the people. And Phil found a way to deal with people in such a manner that it defied what was going on at the time. Today, you see teams like the Spurs and the Warriors. Even the Miami Heat when they won back-to-back championships recently. You see that. Once they figured out the people situation, everything else came together. But Phil was ahead of the curve, and he talks about that thoroughly in his book. It's a great read. I suggest that you pick it up. The reason why he calls it Sacred Hoops is not because of dream catchers. There's a certain Native American tribe that they consider the circle or the hoop something of completion or borderline perfection. A circle doesn't start and it doesn't end. And he was trying to explain that to the guys. Our journey doesn't start at one point, it doesn't end at one point. It's a continuous journey. And that's what he was trying to explain to the guys throughout the season. So this is a really good book. It's called Sacred Hoops by Phil Jackson and co-written by Hugh Delahanty. I'm so sorry if I butchered the name, but I think it's very, very, very appropriate because you have the Warriors, they're on a winning streak, and everybody's comparing them to that Bulls team. So I think it's really good to go back in time and pick up this book and learn about what was going on at that time, and does it even mirror or match what's going on now. It's called Sacred Hoops: Spiritual Lessons of a Hardwood Warrior. And that's what it is. It has a lot of great spiritual lessons. It has like Eastern philosophy in it. You don't have to pick up the philosophies, but you just notice how to apply it and things of that nature. So this is Vlad with my book review on Sacred Hoops. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Take care.